The man as the breadwinner and the house servant. So, I was reading this comment section on Facebook, and it was talking about how basically. So let me just read this. It says, "Sorry, but the idea of having a full-time job alongside a family and then your husband doesn't even cook or clean or do laundry or anything is terrifying. The term man-child is actually scarily applicable because what's the point of getting married then?" I'm just going to show you this. Check this out. This is the meme right here. "Sorry, but the idea of having a full-time job alongside a family and then your husband doesn't even cook or clean or do laundry or anything is terrifying." I don't know why she put a question mark there. But anyway, of course this woman is not very attractive when you look at the thumbnail picture. But this was shared on Facebook by a feminist group, feminist page, whatever. "The term man-child is actually scarily applicable because what's the point of getting married then?" When you pay attention to that last sentence, what's the point of getting married then? So this is what women want. They want service, and they want a man to serve them. This is literally the flip of the patriarchy. This is matriarchy. That's what this is. This is matriarchy. Sorry, but the idea of having a full-time job alongside a family and then your husband doesn't even cook or clean or do laundry or anything is terrifying. Again, I don't know why she put a question mark after terrifying. But so this is the flip, right? This is the flip. This is such an ironic meme because it's like women complain forever about the patriarchy. That's literally what men did. They went out, they worked, full-time job, and all they expected of their wives was to keep a clean house, cook, and take care of the kids. That's kind of 50-50 in a way. Okay, I work a full-time job, 8 hours, I work hard, and the burden of performance is on me because if you mess up at home, what's the worst that could happen? Okay, the kid skinned his knee. He's gonna survive. Oh, you burned some bread. Okay, make some more. But if I mess up at work and I lose my job, our whole ship is sunk. I'll lose the house. You'll leave me. So that puts a lot more stress on men. This is why men die 10 years earlier than women, and most men die of heart attacks because of stress. Okay. So flip it, and we'll say that was like what 70 years ago when this kind of when the patriarchy, quote unquote, was at its height, 1950s, something like that, about 70 years ago. That's when men were expected to go work and lead a family financially, and the women were expected to stay at home, cook and clean, take care of the kids, right? So now 70 years later, after second and third wave feminism, the tables have totally flipped. Tables have totally turned. Now women are the ones working full-time, and look at this. Oh, they don't want all of a sudden they don't want a man who doesn't even cook and clean or do laundry. Oh, I don't need a man child. I don't need somebody at home just playing video games all day, right? Hey, you know what, that's a good point, but think about what this is. This is the matriarchy, right? They've literally flipped it. This is what women have. This is what feminism has done. It's turned women into men. I don't believe there's a lot of men out there who get married and don't do anything. And the reason why I don't believe that is because women won't choose them. I don't believe this scenario is very common, where the man just does nothing and he's a man-child. I don't believe that. I think this woman is single. If you look at her picture up in the top left, she's not attractive, okay? And she's commenting on Twitter, right? So you know that's just a feminist. So she's just spouting her little, or she's projecting her her nonsense, right? So these type of men don't really exist. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. Sure, it does happen, but not really, because women won't choose these type of men. It's not in their nature to choose a guy who's not productive. It's not in their nature to choose a guy who is bummy and he's a man-child, right? I mean, she said it herself. It's terrifying. Women are terrified of that. They do not want to raise another kid, and it's not, and I don't think they should either. If you're going to be a stay-at-home dad, or if you're going to be a stay-at-home husband or whatever, you better freaking do something. At least clean the house. Yeah, do the laundry, do the dishes. That's the least you could do. But if you flip it, you understand that, oh, wait a minute. This is what men have been saying for decades. I go work 8 hours. All the pressure is on me to perform. And you can't even cook and clean. Okay, you take care of the kids. You know, you take care of the kids. But how hard is that? I remember Bill Burr talking about this, how he was roasting women who say that being a mother is the hardest job in the world. Like, yeah, really? It's so hard to just put a DVD in a DVD player and press play, and so your kids can be, occupied for 3 hours. I'm not saying that being a mother is not stressful. Okay, but it's really only about a 7-year job full time, and then it becomes a part-time job because your kid goes off to school for about 5 or 6 hours a day once he or she reaches first grade. And it's a part-time job, right? But even then, I would argue, even if it's a full-time job, quote unquote, how hard is that? How hard is it to just tell your kids, no, don't write on the wall, no, don't do this, and here I'm going to cook for you, come eat this? Like, how hard is that? It's not as hard as, oh man, I got to meet these demands. Oh man, I got a deadline. Oh man, and if I don't meet these demands, I'm fired. Oh man, I gotta produce more sales. If I don't produce more sales, I'm fired. But what happens if the kid misses a meal? Oh, he's upset for a couple hours. What happens if the kid writes on the wall? Darn it, and you got to paint over it. That sucks for about 3 hours. It's not the same. It's not equatable. But as I was in this, I'm in this comment section, right? And there's this woman, and she goes, well, my husband works full time and he comes home and cooks and cleans, like bragging. And I'm just like, you have a slave. He's a slave. He's a not only is he, your breadwinner, you live off of his ability to produce resources. He comes home and he's a house servant. And I always remember my friend, I talked to this guy. I used to talk to this guy a lot. I haven't in a while, but he was a friendly guy. And he was sort of anti-feminist as well. And he was talking about modern women, and he was saying modern women use men like a cart and a horse. The man is the horse and the woman is in the cart, and she's whipping the horse to take her where she wants to go. This is what female supremacy has done. And they're all supremacists in their own way. And I say it in a million videos, a million times. They use sex as a tool of achieving that supremacy. Oh, you're not gonna simp for me? Oh, you're an incel, and no one's gonna ever give you sex. They don't even give you sex. They just berate you and belittle you if you disagree with them, and then say the reason why you disagree with me is because you don't get laid. Like, what kind of fucked up logic is that? Really? I disagree with you, therefore I don't get laid? Okay, lady. Right? But he likened the metaphor to a cart and a horse. And the woman's in the cart and the man is the horse. And this is hypergamy. They're not dating a broke guy. They're dating a guy with resources. They're dating a guy who can get shit done financially. That's what they're attracted to. Why? Because it provides them the lifestyle that they want. And they can't even cook and clean. The funny thing is, when you flip this, and you should, women who stay at home don't even really cook and clean. They don't even really do all their duties very well. Because they're spoiled and they believe that men are the ones who need to do everything. And when I was growing up, or when I was in my early 20s, I stayed with a family from my church. And I remember I asked the guy, and I've talked about this before in other videos. I asked the guy, I said, can you give me any advice about women? Because you're a married guy, you got 2 kids, you seem to be doing pretty well. And he said, women are expensive. That's all he said, was women are expensive. And looking back on their relationship, I remember it really was kind of like a one-way relationship. Like, she was the queen bee, and he was doing a lot of work, man. He was doing all kinds of work. And I remember so many times I would go up, she would ask me to babysit sometimes, and I would go up and, like, because I lived in their basement, I was renting a room in their basement as I went to college, and she would ask me to go up and babysit their kids sometimes, and I would do it because I liked their kids. They were fun little kids. But so many times I would go up, and the house was just dirty. Their living room, it was just dirty, and it was like, I get it. You got really, you got really excited kids full of energy, and they're running around. Like, I get it, but also, I've been up here a lot of times, and the house it's often dirty, and it's like, why? You can't keep it clean? That's your only job. So in a sense, I agree with this meme. It's like, yeah, if you're not working, all you're doing is taking care of kids. Yeah, you better freaking cook and clean and do laundry and do dishes. That's your only job, right? That's your only job. And yet women can't even do it right. So many times I would go up and it was just dirty, and it was just like, and then he would come home and he would clean. And he would cook dinner, and it was just like, what? And it was to make her feel better. It was to make her not feel like she was some kind of slave or something. Because there's this psychological shit from feminism that, like, oh, I'm just, I should be in the kitchen. We've always joked about that. Oh yeah, woman belongs in the kitchen, ha ha ha. But like, psychologically, that's kind of fucked them up in a way. And it's like, I'm not feeling sorry for them per se. It's just like, oh, so because there's a joke that a woman should be in the kitchen, now you can't be in the kitchen, so that not only the man has to work, right, 8 hours a day with all that pressure on his back to produce finances, or else you're going to lose your mortgage, right? He's got to come home and cook and clean. And all you do is change the kids' diapers all day long. There's literally a woman in this comment section saying that. She's like bragging or something, like, oh, I got a good one, I got a good man. You got a good slave. You got a good servant. That's what you got. You didn't get a husband. You don't love a man. You got a servant. It's just like my buddy said. The woman is the cart. The woman's in the cart, and the man is the horse to take her where she wants to go. It's that simple. It's kind of messed up, man, when you really think about it. But we've come full circle. Now women are the new men, and now they have a problem with it. Isn't that weird and ironic? Isn't that funny? Now they have a problem with it, right? When the tables were turned, they were like, oh, I'm not your slave. I'm not your slave. But now they have a problem with it. Isn't that funny? Anyway, I'm going to end it there. Appreciate you listening. Jay Lee, Northwest Podcast. Peace.